Hi, what's up guys? Darkbreaker here, and in today's video with the wildrift patch 4.4a notes, they're finally out. The patch has been out for a while already in the morning, but now the notes are finally out, so we can run through all the changes they did for 4.4a. A lot of champion changes actually, and also the new game mode is releasing, the 2 vs 2 game mode, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let's get started. I'm gonna run you guys through it. We're gonna discuss and talk about all the changes and how I think they are gonna affect the meta and how I think the champion is gonna be now afterwards. So let's get started. Warwick patch notes 4.4a. Raise your hand if you have been asking for a certain new item to be looked at. We hear ya. This patch has the champion and item updates you've been looking for. Changes hot off the press. We're making adjustments to some champions that have been needing some love or maybe have been getting too much love. We are also looking at some items that have been totally ruling the Rift and brand new skins for your favorite boy band. Check them out right here. New game modes. Our new game mode Arena will be coming out with this patch. You'll be able to queue up solo or with your favorite duo in a brand new mode. Arena is a 2 vs 2 vs 2 vs 2 mode where each player will be placed in teams of 2, where they will then duke it out in a series of duels in different arenas on each map. Every round will decrease the enemy's total health and the last team standing will be the winner. There will be different augments that players can select, making each game fun and unique. It's coming out tonight. Champion changes. Corki. Corki has been feeling neglected as almost all of his opponents have gotten some tune-ups. With a slight increase to his base attack damage and his ultimate scaling, we hope to see more of his soaring around the rift. The base stats: attack damage is getting increased by 2, and attack damage per level is getting increased by 0.4. And then for the first ability, let's see what they did with the base damage. Not first ability, I mean the ultimate. The ultimate base damage stays the same. The scaling is increased starting with the second and with the ultimate with the last rank. So in the mid and late game, his ultimate is gonna be stronger. The ability power scaling stays the same. This is just this the normal barrel, or the normal rocket, I guess. And for the big rocket, what did they do exactly? The base stays the same. Then we have the scaling is getting increased by 10, and in the late game of Corki way better. The scaling, ability power scaling stays the same though. But yeah, attack damage scaling is definitely better in the late game now. And on top of that, the attack damage is also nice to have buff. So Corki definitely already strong champion, to be honest. I don't think he needs a buff. I think he's in a good position where he's strong and not broken as fuck. But this is gonna make him even better, and I think in competitive especially, where Corki is a really good pick, it's gonna make him even better. Then we have Fiora. Fiora's performance has been subpar, not a good look for a grand duelist. With these increases in her base damage, she should have an easier time establishing her dominance in the early game. So for Duelist Dance, that's a passive. Damage in the direction of vital, maximum health of target from 3% to 3.5%. This is definitely going to be a buff for Fiora to shred through tanks or bruisers in the late game, especially because it's maximum HP. Then for the ultimate, damage of triggering all 4 vitals, the damage is getting increased from 12% to 14%. So overall, Fiora is going to do way more damage against more tanky opponents, because the more HP the opponents have, the better this max HP scaling is going to obviously do. So on top of that, that's true damage as well, by the way, so a lot of damage. Yeah, the problem is still gonna be that her team fighting is hard. That's the biggest problem. Obviously, her split pushing is still good, but her skill ceiling, or should I say the skill requirement you need on Fiora, is pretty hard to make her work over like other split pushers. I think champions like Jax or maybe Garen are just way easier to play than a Fiora, and Fiora just requires way more skill. With, I mean, the benefit of playing her like is hard. Like, you need to be so good to make her work, and you can play another champion, play half as good, and you get the same value or even easier to win a game. So that's why I think Fiora is not as popular right now, or not as good in the meta. Now for Yasuo, the wind shield cooldown is getting decreased to a set of 18 seconds at every rank. So this can make Yasuo way better in the early game, obviously, to use the wind wall to block projectiles. So that's definitely going to be helpful. Yasuo has been in a very good position already, so I don't think he needed this buff. But I guess for Yasuo mains, that's nice to have. Now Aatrox, I've played the new Aatrox already, the buffed Aatrox. And what they did is they buffed the first ability and the passive. So for the passive, the maximum HP damage is getting increased by 3% in the late game. And then for the first ability, they increase the late game scaling plus the attack damage scaling. So the more attack damage you have, the more damage you will do. So Aatrox in the late game is going to do more damage than beforehand. And Aatrox already was doing a lot of damage. So this is definitely going to benefit him. Now we have Warwick. So what did they do for Warwick? Jaw of the Beast, damage based on target's maximum health is getting increased, and then the ultimate cooldown is also getting decreased. Nice to have buff for Warwick, but he definitely is still not the greatest champion in my opinion. How could they improve him? Not sure. What would make him better? I guess getting more movement speed from the second ability, so he's not as easily kited, or he can be more useful in team fights. Maybe with the third ability as well. Second and third ability, I think they need to be more adjusted. I think his healing's very strong enough. It's more like his team fighting sucks, so I guess they need to improve that. Now Twitch, this is major. Twitch jungle getting finally nerfed. With the item changes that came with patch 4.4, Twitch has been enjoying flexing into multiple roles. We have tweaked some numbers to make sure he's living up to his expectations, while still allowing his opponents room for counterplays. Deadly Venom, damage per stack. The ability power scaling is getting reduced from 3.5% to only 2.5%. That's a big number nerf if you think about it, from 3.5 to 2.5. Now, Contaminate. Damage of each Deadly Venom stack. The base stat stays the same. The bonus attack damage and the ability power ratio is getting lowered. From 37% to 33% bonus attack damage, and from 30% ability power to 20%. This is a major damage nerf. And then on top of that, the cherry on top, the damage ratio on monsters from 130% to 80%. His jungle clear was already giga dog shit, especially in the early game. But this is gonna butcher his first jungle clear. And on top of that, obviously, AP scaling is getting nerfed. So the very popular AP Twitch build might not be as good as beforehand anymore, because they're nerfing the ability power by a lot. From 30 to 20 is a big nerf. And then also the passive as well. So a major Twitch nerf, plus especially for the jungle, a major jungle clear speed nerf. I like this because Twitch jungle has been pretty damn obnoxious. And on top of that, people, to be fair, Twitch jungle shines because of his spam ganking, not necessarily because of jungle clear, and also obviously also because of his late game. But I think this is a very big AP Twitch nerf plus jungle Twitch nerf. So I like to see that. Sexy, great. Now we have a Yumi nerf as well. Yumi is one of the best friends you can have in the dragon lane. She has been overwhelming opponents with her poke, so we have adjusted some numbers to make her less oppressive to lane against. So what did they do? The base damage stays the same, but the ability power scaling got nerfed. On top of that, the damage while attached, the ability power got nerfed, but it's only 5%. And then for the ultimate, the damage per wave, the base stays the same, the ability power ratio got nerfed. Doesn't really matter too much. They should have touched the third ability way more. The first ability, yes. 5% ability power doesn't really matter. From 25 to 20, 35 to 30, 15% to from 20 to 50, it doesn't really matter. It stays the same. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Especially it's the first ability. Like what really matters is the healing and the movement speed they are getting from the third ability. That's what matters. And also the shielding that she can provide back and forth. That's what matters. Obviously the poke from Yumi is kind of annoying, like in the laning phase, but that's not the problem about why Yumi is so strong. Yeah, right. You missed the point about Yumi here. Now Shivana got a nice buff, by the way. Shivana has been needing some TLC for a while now. These changes should help with her clearing time and making a strong pick for the jungle. So for the burnout, damage per second, +5, base damage getting buffed, and bonus attack damage ratio getting buffed by 5%. Then the total damage from 210 to 245. Oh, I think... Oh, that's the total damage. Oh, okay. From 210 to 245. And from 175 bonus attack damage to 210 bonus attack damage. Which is insane. Is that... Are they talking about the evolved form, by the way? Or what do they say? Because they say 25 bonus... because I guess they're stacking up the ticks. Because it's ticking for... 7 seconds, I guess? Yeah, 7 seconds. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, but that's a big damage. No, I mean, if you look at the total number, it looks pretty big, to be fair, in comparison to beforehand. Like, look at the total. From 175 to 210, and then from 210... I mean, can you really say that? Because it's just 5% per tick more? Not really. I mean, it's nice to have buff, definitely, but it looks more impressive than it actually is, by the way. Like, the bonus attack damage here, I mean, it looks more impressive than it actually is. And then the ultimate, this is actually very good. In the early game, you get 80 more HP, and then in the late game, 50 more HP. So this is definitely nice to have for Shivana, making her more tanky in the early game. Yeah, Shivana has been pretty... I think Shivana is fine, but she really isn't dominating, because it's a unique playstyle that people like Shivana mains like to play, and doesn't necessarily translate really well into solo queue, because people clown Fiesta. You need to have very good macro and a farming understanding on Shivana to carry with her. But I still think every time I play, I'm still winning on Shivana, so I think she has been in a very good position. But nice to have buff. Doesn't matter. It's not gonna make her broken or super strong, like OP, but it's definitely gonna make her very strong, in my opinion. Now Jenna. That's funny, by the way. After her rework, Jenna has been maneuvering her allies across the rift a little too well. We've adjusted her numbers to allow her opponents to catch up. Bonus movement speed is getting reduced on Zephyr, and the shield value is also getting reduced, AP scaling wise. Honestly, every Jenna main is saying that Jenna has been doing, or Jenna is not as good as beforehand, or it doesn't feel the same, right? But clearly Riot is looking at the win rates across the board, and she's doing better than before, and I guess it's because she's easier to play, because she's like a Sona wannabe now. She's like a Sona wannabe, and they're nerfing Jenna actually. So this is definitely gonna make her way worse than before. And I think why the win rate is better is because she just has been way easier to play, like brain damage pressing buttons. You Jenna mains, you can tell me what you guys think about this. Brand is getting a buff. The HP is getting increased by 40. Then I think it's the second ability, if I'm not wrong. The second ability, AP scaling is getting increased by 10, and then the ultimate ability power is getting increased by 5. It's definitely nice to have Brand. I still think he would be like A tier, or maybe if you're reaching at not as A tier. I think it's gonna make him better, but not broken or anything. Now for Vi. They increased the armor by 4, and the ultimate cooldown is getting reduced by 10. And Vi has been a solid S tier. This is definitely gonna make her even better, but probably stays a solid, very strong S tier. The armor buff is definitely gonna help her in the early game for skirmishes against other junglers. Now for Echo. Echo has been lackluster in both the mid lane and the jungle. These changes should allow him to play more aggressively and live up to the time-shattering assassin that he's meant to be. Time Winder, outgoing damage getting increased by 10 at each rank. Returning damage getting increased by 10 at each rank. Ability power stays the same. This is useless. This is useless. 10 damage buff, by the way. Useless. Ultimate in the early game getting decreased from 80 to 70 and from 60 to 55. It's definitely nice to have buff, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. If they want to make Echo better, what they could do is increase his jungle clear speed. For example, the passive damage. I remember they nerfed the passive damage against monsters. If they buff the passive damage against monsters, Echo will be way better again. These changes are useless. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Now, this is nice. They nerfed Crown. Ability power is getting decreased by 60... from 70 to 60, so by 10. Ability haste is getting increased though. Maximum HP is getting removed. The safeguard duration, the reducing effect of the damage is getting decreased from 1.5 to 1 second. That's nice. And the cooldown reduction is getting reduced as well from 5 to 4. I like that they nerf. Honestly, the safeguard is bullshit. The safeguard is probably, the safeguard makes the item broken, not the stats. The safeguard passive makes it broken. 70% damage reduction makes this item broken. It literally prevents burst assassins to kill champions. I like that they removed the 150 HP. That's probably the most important part, that they're lowering the survivability factor. And this as well, but it's not enough. I think the safeguard damage reduction is too much. 70% is too much. Maybe if they did like 50%, it's gonna make the item less broken, but it's still a very good item even after the nerfs. Magi's. The total cost is getting increased. HP is getting nerfed and ability power is getting nerfed. So Magi is receiving a pretty solid nerf. Increasing the cost so you can stack up this item early and then also decreasing the stats. I like the change. Magi should be more high risk, high rewarding than it has been. So I like this Magi Soul Stealer nerf. I also like the Crown nerf. Obviously, these are very good. These are very good changes. But I think the safeguard is the biggest problem. 70% damage reduction is still a major problem. Rune Hurrican, a major nerf, by the way. Attack damage is getting decreased from 30 to 15, and then the ability power you're getting is getting decreased from 60 to 30. And I think it's definitely targeting champions like Kai'Sa, Twitch, and Kayle. So these champions have been benefiting from Rune, especially Kai'Sa and Twitch a lot. Plus, there's a bug, by the way, that I've seen. Kirk showed that this item is increasing the range, even though the indicator is not as far. Like the indicator shows like a circle, and with Rune Hurrican you can hit even further. So that's the Rune Hurrican buff, a bug. Okay, let's see if I can find Kirk's. So I can show it to you guys because Kirk showed it here. Or in case you didn't know, for some reason Rune extends your normal range to the yellow indicator and allows you to hit people in Narnia when you just have a proxy target in front of you. Certainly intended. So even though you're not reaching, you can still hit them because of Rune Hurrican, because they reworked the item. So yeah, credits to Kirks for finding this, and he said he would make a short maybe as well. So sorry for me taking it away, but you guys can definitely check out pro guides as well. And then for the skins, Heartsteel, the boyband skins are coming out. Ezreal, Kayn, Sett, and Yone. But yeah, that's great for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Tell me your opinion about the changes. And I see you guys. Bye bye.